Do not move to the Philippines in 2025 unless you can handle these 5 things. Hey, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time watching, my name is Floyd. I'm an expat that's been living in the Philippines for almost a year now, and I make content about my lifestyle, travel, and food experiences out here in the Philippines. And I've been getting a lot of questions from Americans that are considering moving to the Philippines, but based on my time living out here, I've come up with 5 reasons why you actually shouldn't do that unless you're able to handle these 5 things. As you know, the Philippines is a beautiful place, but just like any place, once you decide to move somewhere, there's always going to be trade-offs. So it's better to know exactly what you're getting yourself into before you book that plane ticket and decide to make the move. And the first thing is, it's the weather, the heat. In the Philippines, it's a tropical place, and the weather is usually hot. There's no summer, winter, fall, spring, none of that. There's only really 2 seasons. There's summer and there's rainy season. And right now it is summer and it is super hot. Weather can get up to, triple digits some days. So if you're an individual that's not already prepared for that, or you're not acclimated for that, you might want to hold off on making the Philippines your next home. For me, it took some time getting adjusted. However, the weather out here is similar to the weather I've experienced in Texas, so it wasn't that big of a jump in change. And I was able to get acclimated to it relatively easy. When it comes to some of my friends that have either visited here, or some of the friends and expats that now live here that have come from places that are up north, whether it's, the East Coast or the Midwest, those individuals are struggling when it comes to the weather. I mean, I could be out on a hot day like this, chilling just fine, and my buddy from Montana could be sweating bullets, just drenched in sweat. If you're a person who doesn't like warmer climates and you thrive in colder climates, then you might want to reconsider, or just stick to the Philippines being a place that you would visit. Next up is the traffic. And I'm only specifically speaking in the Metro Manila areas. I've had the experience of traveling to different provinces like Pangasinan, Tarlac, and a few other places. And I can say the traffic wasn't too crazy in those areas. But for most foreigners who are planning to relocate here, most of them are planning to live in the metro areas, Metro Manila. Think BGC, Makati, Quezon City. I would just make sure you're prepared to deal with heavy traffic. Of course, there are tons of different areas to live in, like Cebu and Davao, which I've heard are great cities. And I have some friends who live there, and I'm planning a trip out to those places relatively soon, so I don't have that background experience of the traffic in those areas. But in terms of Metro Manila, where you'll find a lot of digital nomads and expats that end up making this area their home when they move here, the traffic can be insane. Even right now, if there's a place that I want to go to, or I have an appointment that I need to get to, I'm always making sure I leave the house at least an hour to an hour and 30 minutes ahead of time, because the last thing I want is to get stuck in this crazy traffic in Manila. I remember one time I was headed to a barber appointment, and I ended up missing the appointment because I got stuck in traffic. And just to put this into perspective, I was only going from Makati to BGC, which on Google Maps, it's right around 15 minutes or so. But that whole car ride took more than 45 minutes. By the time I made it to my barber, I had already missed my appointment and had to book for another day. So that's the second thing you need to consider. The third thing you need to consider before moving here is that things operate on a slower pace, especially when it comes to filing paperwork and getting things done. In America, we have the privilege of next day, immediate, instant. But out here in the Philippines, they operate on a completely different vibe. No, this is a nice, relaxing, chill, tropical place. Sometimes it seems like they really take that to heart. And don't get me wrong, I'm a pretty patient person, so it doesn't bother me. But if you are a foreigner and you're so used to things happening lightning quick, fast, immediate, and instant, you might want to slow your roll, take a couple of steps back, and reevaluate if this is really the place that you want to call home. I think the expats and digital nomads that have the most success are the ones who can adjust to how things operate in the Philippines instead of being constantly upset, frustrated, and disappointed. The fourth thing, it's the food. So Filipinos are very passionate about their food, and from all of the content that I've posted about the food, I'm always getting mixed results. Mostly love from Filipinos, but when it comes to foreigners, it can be 50-50. There are some foreigners who have claimed that this is the worst food in all of Southeast Asia, which, if you're watching this, I don't personally believe it. However, there are some people who share that opinion. On the flip side, there are other foreigners that admire Filipino food. It's just that they wish it was a little more healthier. Don't get me wrong, I love rice, I love fried foods, salty foods, sweet foods, but even I can admit that sometimes the food is not the healthiest. Super tasty and delicious, but I'm even finding myself having to change up some of the recipes, or even when my girlfriend cooks, sometimes she'll have to, withhold or omit a certain ingredient because it might be too salty, sweet, what have you. If you are a very health conscious person and you have this idea that, Southeast Asian cooking is super healthy, you might want to acclimate yourself and get adjusted to how Filipino cuisine is, because from what I've experienced, it's a lot of chicken, a lot of pork, a lot of seafood as well. Not that much beef as it's imported, but it's mainly those types of foods. And I'm usually having some type of soup, stew, or a fried dish with some type of rice. Now, with that being said, that does not mean there are no healthy options out here. One of the things that really surprised me about living in the Philippines was the fact that there was a lot of food variety. So outside of Filipino food, you have a lot of other Asian cuisines like Thai, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, Japanese, Korean. And not just that, but there's also Mediterranean cuisine, Indian, Middle Eastern, American. More so specifically in the Metro Manila area. However, I've also been to provinces where there's a great deal of variety, more than what I would normally expect. But it's good to just set your expectations to that. And once again, if you are a person that's living a more healthier lifestyle and you want healthier options, then you might have to finesse it. Maybe instead of eating out as much, do your own grocery shopping, cook at home, or you can, look up healthy alternatives to some of the Filipino dishes. And last but not least, the fifth thing, the earthquakes. I know you've probably seen in the news recently that Thailand had a major earthquake, and I've received a plethora of comments with people always wondering, well, what about the earthquakes and also the typhoons? What are you going to do about that? But the truth is that no matter where you go on this planet, there's always some type of chaotic weather. Back in home in Texas, we had to worry about hurricanes. Out here in the Philippines, typhoons are essentially the same thing. I've never had to deal with earthquakes, but I have clients and friends who live in other states, whether on the West Coast or some other areas of the United States where they have to deal with earthquakes or tornadoes or extreme freezing and blizzards. No matter where you go, you're not guaranteed perfect weather conditions where there's no chaotic weather that can happen. Just like anything, you learn to live with what you've got, and you arm yourself with the safety precautions, which would mean learning what to do when an earthquake happens, or learning how to prep for typhoon season. It's pretty simple. It would be the same stuff that I would do back home in Texas when we were preparing for hurricane season. I'm a pretty easygoing person, and I'm able to adjust and adapt to what is the status quo and the standard out here, and learn to operate in the best possible way I can. So that's what I would recommend to you if you're watching this video and you're considering moving to the Philippines. Do not do it unless you can handle these 5 things. Obviously, the Philippines is a fantastic place. It's beautiful with amazing people, great scenery. Cost of living is fantastic as well. For me, being an American coming from the United States, living here, cost of living is obviously way more affordable. And by the way, if you want a video on that and my breakdown of my monthly cost of living since I've been living here, I can definitely do that. Just let me know in the comment section below. But I wanted to make this video because I've been getting my DMs flooded by foreigners, Westerners, and Americans who are thinking about moving, but they just have a lot of questions. And so I've been doing my best to get back to everyone, but I just thought today, why not just make a video covering all of these factors that someone should consider when moving to the Philippines. And these aren't just the only factors. I'll be doing future videos like this. So if this is something you want to see more of on the channel in this format, just let me know in the comments section below. And also let me know what other questions you may have about moving to the Philippines. If you are thinking about relocating to the Philippines and you want more information, or you'd like to jump on a one-on-one call to figure out if this is the best place for you in your next move, you can go ahead and click the link in the description to book a call directly with me. And one last thing, I made an ebook for all of those who are planning their vacation out here to the Philippines. It has my top recommendations from a foreigner who's traveled here multiple times and now a foreigner and digital nomad that lives in the Philippines. You can get that in the link in the description as well. But once again, that's it for today's video. I appreciate you all watching. I enjoy making these videos because I know how impactful that information can be if you're still in America just considering or thinking about moving to the Philippines. And I made another video for expats thinking about moving here, and you can watch that right here. Check it out now. But anyways, that's it. Stay safe, stay blessed, and y'all have a good one. Peace.